Hi everyone. So today I want to talk a little bit about finding the slope of a line if you're just given 2 points on that line. So we've seen something called slope-intercept form before, and that's where we have a line given by y equals mx plus b. And here, m is the slope of our line, and this is given by rise over run. Okay, and we can actually be a little more specific than just saying rise over run. We can actually write this as a formula where we have y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And the reason we're using this formula is because maybe we're given 2 points like we have in these examples here. Okay, so let's do an example here and just kind of see what's happening and why this formula works. So here we have the point 1, 2 and the point 3, 4. So let's start by graphing those and then drawing our lines so we get a good idea of what we're looking at here. So we're going to plot the point 1, 2 first. So that means we're going to go on the x-axis to the right 1, okay? And then we're going to go up 2 on the y-axis. So this would be our first point, the point 1, 2. Okay, and then we have the point 3, 4. So we're going to go to the right 3 along the x-axis, and then we're going to go up 4 along the y-axis. And so this will be our second point. Okay, and since we said that this was point 1 and this was point 2, what we can do is we can say that the 1 in point 1 is our x1 value, and our 2 in the y section here is our y1 value. Okay, so this is the x component of point 1, and this is the y component of point 1. All right, and then similarly for point 2, we can have the 3 is going to be our x component for point 2, and our 4 is going to be our y component for point 2. Okay, so we're able to write the slope as y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so in this case, we have our y2 is 4, all right, and our y1 is 2. So I have 4 minus 2 over x2 is 3, and x1 is 1, and we're going to subtract those. So here we have 4 minus 2 is 2 over 2, which gives us 1 once we simplify that. Okay, so our slope here is 1. All right, so when we connect this, hopefully it's fairly easy to see that the slope actually is 1 here. We're going up at a rate of 1 over 1 each time. So we go up 1 to the right 1, up 1 to the right 1. So what we're actually doing when we see this formula is we are calculating the y distance between the points. This is our rise, which is our y2 over y1. And we're having our x distance being calculated as well. That's our x2 minus x1. Okay, so this is a little bit about how that formula works here. Let's try another example. Here we have the point 4, 1 and the point 2, negative 1. Let's use a different color here so we don't get confused. Be green. Okay, so we can go, our first point here, we can say this is point 1 and this is point 2. So our x1 is going to be 4 and our y1 is going to be 1. Okay, and then our x2 is going to be 2, and our y2 is going to be negative 1. All right, so let's plot each of these. So for our first point, 4, 1, we go to the right 4, and we can go up 1. And then for our point 2, we can go to the right 2, and we can go down 1. Okay. So we can draw a line, and hey, these actually are parallel, which means we're going to have the same slope, but the principle is still going to work, and I'll show you how this works here as we do it, right? So we can start with our rise, which is our y2 minus y1. So y2 minus y1 gives us negative 1 minus 1 over x2 minus x1. That's going to give us 2 minus 4. So on the top, we're going to have -2, and then on the bottom we're also going to have -2. So the negative signs cancel, the 2's cancel, and we get 1. So our slope again would also be 1. So yeah, this would be our second example. Let's do another one that doesn't have the same slope here. It's good to do more examples anyways. Let's try the point, let's do the point -2, 2. Okay, and we'll do the point -3, 5. I like that. That sounds good. So -3, 5. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and connect these two with a line so we have a good idea what we're looking at here. To be clear, you don't always have to connect your points with a line on a graph as you're doing this, although it can help to visualize just to make sure that your slope is going to make sense. So what we can see from this this line here, just as a good sanity check for later, this slope is actually going to end up being negative because the line is going down as x increases, right? So we should end up with a negative slope. This is a good way to check your work as well. If you graph the line and you see that it's going down, you know that the slope will end up being negative. So here we have 0.1. We'll say the point -2, 2 is 0.1. So, and we'll say the point -3, 5 is 0.2. All right, so that means -2 is x1 and 2 is y1. And then we have -3 is x2 and we have 5 is y2. Okay. So we can write our slope as m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So here we have 5 minus 2 over -3 minus -2. All right, so 5 minus 2 is going to give us 3. And then -3 minus a -2. This is the same thing as -3 plus 2, because anytime you subtract a negative number, it's the same thing as adding. So this will give us 3 over -1, or just -3. All right, so, and that looks about right. So our slope here is -3. Now, it should be noted that it actually does not matter which point you choose for point 1 and which point you choose for point 2, just as long as you're consistent within those 2 points. You very easily could have reversed these two. You could have said that -2, 2 was point 2 and -3, 5 was point 1, and you still should have gotten the same answer. So let's double check that just to make sure. So let's say we instead had -2, 2 and -3, 5, where this one was 0.1 and this one was 0.2. So in this case, we would get still y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So in this case, our y2 is going to be 2, and our x2 is going to be -2. Our x1 is going to be -3, and our y1 is going to be 5. Okay, so here we'd have 2 minus 5 over -2 minus -3. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so we have 2 minus 5 over -2 minus -3. So that'll give us -3 on top over 2 minus a -3, or -2 minus -3 is the same thing as -2 plus 3, which gives us -3 over 1, which is just -3. So in either case, you're going to end up with the same slope. The fractions will look a little different along the way, but the final answer should end up being exactly the same.